Hello and welcome to another episode of Rising Tides, where we talk with the change makers, the people who are making a strong impact on the society. With me, Himanshu Tyagi. आज हमारे साथ है एक ऐसी हस्ती जिन्होंने महज 8 साल की उम्र में ही आर्मी ज्वाइन करने का फैसला कर लिया, वो भी एक पिक्चर देख और करके भी दिखाया. Let's welcome the mighty Major Prajakta Desai.
Parents have kept it quite clear that whatever you wanted to pursue in life, we are supporting you and you should go forward for it. They always said that you must pursue the career of your own choice and should not be bogged down by what the society says. You take an oath standing in front of your parents and the entire audience, having the rank of lieutenant before your rank, name. While watching the entire movie, I probably put myself into the role of Sunny Deol and started thinking one day even something like this may happen with me. So then when I was a child, my parents used to encourage me कि आप भी वो दहीहंडी फोड़ सकते हो. Never did my parents say कि तुम लड़की हो, तुम्हें ये नहीं करना है. If you are physically fit, rather if your body is supporting you, your 2 feet are supporting you to stand correctly and do all your things, then your life is success. But when they say India, इंडिया में या इंटरनेशनली ऑल्सो एक अलग प्राइड होना चाहिए अपने मातृभूमि के लिए. आई थिंक अगर ये एक फीलिंग हर कोई इंसान अपने मन में जगाए तो आई थिंक इन टाइम्स टू कम आवर कंट्री विल बी क्रॉसिंग एवरीथिंग, crossing GDP, crossing all the technological advancements and being the best.
All right, so the first question that I have for you is that coming from a middle class background, and a civilian background, and also being the eldest in your family, which means shouldering a lot of responsibilities. So, how did you land up in the army?
So I'll tell you, I'm born in the late 80s. So then, and it was not quite normal for women, especially, to go out in breaking these kind of glass ceilings or pursuing careers which are literally different, like a male-dominated careers. But thankfully, my parents were literally ahead of their time. I belong to Mumbai and I live in a small Marathi area called Lalbagh. So in late 80s, Lalbagh was not an area where women could move out and pursue such careers. But it was a lot of help and support, or rather the encouragement that came from my parents. Never did my parents treat me any differently than then late 80s or 90s. It used to happen that women were treated a little differently than the sons and the daughters. There was a differentiation there. In my family, it wasn't there. I have 2 younger siblings as well, born in the late 90s. So my parents had kept it quite clear that whatever you wanted to pursue in life, we are supporting you and you should go forward for it. And especially when I told my parents about the Indian Army, when, while growing up, you start developing these kind of likings towards the uniform when you watch different movies and all. But later, when I got very serious about it and told my parents, they were extremely happy. Yes, the society at times, questions them, questions your choices, but they were quite, ahead of their time. And they always said that you must pursue the career of your own choice and should not be bogged down by what the society says. And they kept on encouraging me. My mother was in NCC, so she even encouraged me to join NCC. That made my focus much clearer. And having a group of people who all want to get into the armed forces made it more, like a laser focus and helped me sail through it.
So, you served in the army for 11 years, right? And we are sure that there have been many proud moments in those 11 years. Can you share any such moment with us today?
2 of them, very important anecdotes of any officer's life and my life as well. So, when you get to the armed forces or you aspire to become an army officer or any, armed forces in general, it's like a very steep pyramid. Lakhs and lakhs students give the examination, and through a very strict and a stringent screening process of interviews, medicals, merit and all, the selection criteria is as less as 0.1%. So as a teenager or as a young person in their 20s makes up, their career in such kind of a profession, you kind of get a high initially. When you join in the academy, it's altogether a different ball game. When whatever you have learned, you might have been, the best in sports, the best in your debates and best in your studies as well. But still, when you go there, the entire world is so damn different. Out of 24 hours, 18 hours, you're put under a lot of pressure, both physical, mental, a lot of exercises. Physical demands of the body are so high. Your mental decision making ability and all these scenarios, put you in a phase and you start questioning yourself over there for the first time. Have I done something right, or will I be able to survive? But the sure thing that after 1 year of training, where I have been trained, it is 1 year officers training academy. When we know that, at the end of 1 year, we'll be wearing our olive green uniform, having the stars on the shoulders you would have seen in the movie Laksh. When your
Right.
parents pip you with those stars, you take a oath standing in front of your parents and the entire audience. When you take a oath that you'll protect your motherland over yourself. So, that moment of passing out from the academy and becoming an officer, having the rank of lieutenant before your rank, name, that is the most cherished moment of any officer's life, and especially my life as well. And the next one is when I left the army. Obviously, it was very emotional for me, the last working day that I had in my office. But post that also, whenever I got calls from my Jawans, the men whom I was commanding, then when they come up, and call you up and say, Sahab, aap kaise ho? I have got stuck up in XYZ. I was an air traffic controller. So whenever they used to get stuck up in any situation, or they needed any kind of advice, that how could I solve this air situation differently, they still call me up and say that, साहब आप होते तो शायद अलग होता, या आप अगर मुझे इसका solution बता देंगे तो बढ़िया हो जाएगा. When people still value you, your teachings, your learnings, and you are as a good leader to them, that even after your service, when they don't have actually anything to do with them, give you a call and say, that XYZ thing is needed, or probably you left a void once you left. I think that's the biggest achievement in any person's life, especially any officer's life.
Amazing. Such an amazing experience would have been. I can just imagine the feelings. We also, in our personal experience, sometimes get calls from our subordinates which were in the previous organization or somewhere else, and it feels good. But when we talk about the army, the experience and it's altogether a different ball game completely. Coming to the next question, we've heard about an incident, and in 1995, your father took you to watch the movie Border, and that's when, at the age of only 8, you decided to join the army, like you also just told us a few minutes ago. How important has been the support of your family, especially your father, in this journey?
So I'll narrate that incident. It was 1995. The movie was quite famous then, and my father took
Right.
me to watch it. So the first scene over there, when the artillery is firing, is so intriguing. When the screen displays somewhere in the enemy country, and firing is taking place and all that. When you see the artillery barrel pointing towards the enemy and firing, the first thing that ever came into my mind was, as a 8-year-old child, was, why am I not a man? Very simple statement, but very impactful, because imagine the thing that goes on in a child's mind, that only men can go in such fields. Little did I know then that women are in the army since 1992, other than medical. So when I told my father, while watching the entire movie, I probably put myself into role of Sunny Deol and started thinking, one day even something like this may happen with me. But after that, when I expressed my desire in front of both my parents, the first thing that they did not even laugh on me, or they did not even say no. Neither did they discourage me, saying that this is not a field for women. In fact, they encouraged me at that very moment. So I think what was important to our 8-year-old child was that the dreams were not crushed at the initial stages. The seeds of maybe dreaming big, dreaming different was sown that early, that when I came into late school and college, my determination to go into that career, or probably might would have, changed by then, but any career would have been, the transition would have been smoother, because my parents always encouraged me. They did not put down that child so that the child's, mentality or the child's thinking could get affected. So I think that was the first thing. And second thing, a couple of things I'll tell you. As I said, from where I used to come, now things have completely changed. As you all know, in Mumbai, we celebrate a lot of Dahi Handi, Gopal Kala.
Right. Hmm.
So then when I was a child, my parents used to encourage me कि आप भी वो दही हंडी फोड़ सकते हो. Never did my parents say कि तुम
Hmm.
लड़की हो, तुम्हें ये नहीं करना है. I was damn scared of heights since then. So,
Hmm.
but my parents used to encourage me. My father literally forced me to go with my cousin and said, "No, okay, okay, you are comfortable with him, go with him, and we want to see you doing it." So I think when you encourage children to pursue in a right direction, to pursue their dreams in a right direction, or encourage them without showing that there is a difference between two genders, I think that's what where the base gets settled, and you can go ahead and dream bigger.
Right. So, women in army, the transformation, it has evolved a lot. Like you also said, when you joined in, the scenario and situation was different. And today things have completely transformed and they are getting better day by day. So, what's the change, the major change that you see? And what are the transformation that you still feel that they need to be done?
So as I said, in 1992, other than the medical corps, women were allowed to go into services. So
Hmm.
to explain in short and layman terms, what we see on television of the Indian Army are the
Hmm.
fighting forces, जो
Hmm.
actually जाके जंग
लड़ते
के
हैं.
मैदान पे रहते हैं on the border. Okay, तो सिर्फ उन्हीं का काम नहीं होता. There are people who are playing bigger roles behind. So, for
Hmm.
example, there are engineers who are laying the miles, artillery who are giving the firing, armored tanks are there. Apart from that, there's Army Services Corps who's responsible for giving you your ration. Then there's Army Ordnance Corps who's responsible for your ammunition, Army
Hmm.
Aviation, flying the helicopters, then signals who are giving communication. So
Hmm.
earlier, women were only open to ASC, that is Army Services Corps, EME, and AOC, where only women were providing support that is required in terms of maybe logistics, vehicle, ammunitions, and all in case of a war.
Hmm.
Okay, so
Hmm.
whatever the scenario changes only when there is a war. Otherwise, in
Right.
peacetime, everything is safe.
Hmm.
So women were open to these kind of arms in 1992. Later on, they started allowing women to come in Army Air Defense. That is a fighting support arm, going a little closer to the enemy. In 2009 was the last time they started to get women in Army Aviation as air traffic controllers. And in
Hmm.
2020, we got an opportunity for 2019 as UAV pilots. So it is like slowly and steadily, they have allowed women to come from services to the fighting support. Now, there was a lot of debate that was going on when in 2020, then when earlier women were not having permanent commission, they were only serving for 10 to 14 years and moving. But in 2020, when a case was already filed, which was won by the women officers, they were allowed to even apply for permanent commission. After that, National Defense Academy, which was never open to women, were
Hmm.
open to girls then. After 12th standard, girls can go there. And in 2023 were the first time when women came into artillery. So from services to fighting support arm, now to almost a support arm. So the transition has been, I would say, slow. According to me, it should have been much faster. But yes, we are there somewhere. The overall, I feel, what is the the root cause of it is, I personally feel that most of the time a society should be able to accept the fact that women can perform equally better with men in certain fields. Yes, we cannot compare their physical abilities. I strongly believe that. That's why till date we don't have 100 meters same in Olympics for both men and women. I mean, that is what every person should agree to, that physiologically both the genders are different. But when it comes to intellectual opportunities, I think the army should have been a little faster. And now, since 2020, when I see the transition from getting permanent commission to women to getting into NDA, then to come into artillery, then allowing women for even scenic schools, the girls of literally 14 to 16 years, allowing them in scenic school, I think it has been really fast. And at times to come, maybe maximum 10 years down the line, women will also be there in the fighting forces, playing equal roles to the men that they are playing since 1947.
Nari Shakti. It's already
Yes,
been promoted
Nari
by the
Shakti.
government. It's been everywhere,
Absolutely.
right? So it is going on right now. Of course, any change, any transformation does take some time. एंड एकदम से हो जाएगा तो वो शॉक की तरह आएगा, धीरे धीरे सटली होगा तो आई थिंक इट विल बी एब्जॉर्ब वेरी ब्यूटिफुली.
Yes, people just want things to go faster, but we must understand that, when we talk about any field, to bring a change, you require first to get it at some kind of a position within the system and then make the changes. So changes have been there, they have been a little slow, and I think in due course of time, it will be all the same.
Absolutely. So you have been air traffic controller, first UAV observer pilot of Indian Army, TEDx speaker, motivational speaker, animal rescuer, mountaineer, skydiver, hot air balloonist, and whatnot. And also Ahilya Devi Holkar National Award 2022 winner. So after doing all these achievements now today, how does your day look like? What's the schedule that you're following? How does it look like today? Because the other responsibilities have been so huge. So now, how does your daily routine look like today?
Honestly, post the army, it has been a little slower because in the army, I had a quite tough of a schedule, which we always have morning PT, office, evening games. And
Mm,
apart from that, I have been a person who wants to pursue everything. So I would take a little bit of leave, go learn skydiving, mountaineering, and whatnot. But since I left the army, I have been in corporate for some time now. So things are a little chill. I take my own sweet time now to get up, do my household work, because now I am putting a little effort on that end as well.
mm,
And obviously, corporate jobs are really, taxing that way. So 9 hours go over there. But I make it a point to keep up on my physical fitness. For since I left the army, there was a phase of 1.5 year when I was having some kind of a illness for a very long time, but
mm,
still I got back because I have kept myself that if you are physically fit, rather if your body is supporting you, your 2 feet are supporting you to stand correctly and do all your things, then your life is successful. मतलब किसी पे depend होना नहीं पड़ता.
mm.
So उस terms में I have kept my fitness at priority one and my work as well. But yes, it has taken a little. I mean, probably earlier I was running sprints. Now it's a marathon for me, slow and steady.
The slow and steady wins the race, of course.
Yes.
All right. So one more question that I have for you is अक्सर ये कहा जाता है प्राजक्ता जी के कुछ पाने के लिए कुछ खोना पड़ता है, तो क्या
Right.
खोया क्या पाया?
मैं 22 साल की थी, आई थिंक 21-22 साल की, जब मैंने घर एक्चुअली छोड़ा.
हम्म,
मैं एक लेट ज्वाइनी थी. मेरा ज्वाइनिंग लेटर आने में आर्मी के लिए टाइम लगा. सो पीपल हैड स्टार्टेड ट्रेनिंग 2 वीक्स से एंड आई ज्वाइंड इन द थर्ड वीक. या सो ऑल ऑफ अ सडन मेरा ज्वाइनिंग लेटर आ गया एक दिन, एंड विद इन 1 वीक मुझे मेरा घर छोड़ना पड़ा. आई कुडंट से प्रॉपर बाय टू माय फैमिली बिकॉज इन दैट 1 वीक preparation for getting into the army, meeting all your relatives, when everybody comes home and
right, right.
congratulates. So I couldn't say a proper bye to my mother, especially. We both were so damn busy. And I think वो मुझे लगता है बहुत बड़ी sacrifice थी कि मैंने literally, मेरे पेरेंट्स के पास इतने पैसे नहीं थे कि वो मुझे आके चेन्नई तक छोड़े. पापा ने मुझे टिकट करा के दी थी थर्ड एसी की फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम
हम्म,
एंड कहा था somebody will come at Chennai station, make you sit in a cab, and you get down at the cab at the academy, pay them. बस मैं ऐसे ही पूरे सूटकेसेस उठा के ब्लैक ट्रंक उठा के निकली थी पहली बार विदाउट अ फोन, बिकॉज फोन्स आर नॉट अलाउड इन एकेडमी. सो
हम्म,
इतनी लिबर्टी नहीं थी कि आप एक मोबाइल लेके जाओ और एक दिन
हम्म,
के लिए एंड ऑल. सो आई रीच देयर, वन अंकल पापा's फ्रेंड, ही मेड मी सिट इन द कैब. ही सेड 200 रुपीज दे देना, आपको छोड़ देंगे. अकेडमी जब मैं चली गई, आई स्टिल रिमेम्बर अ एलियन वर्ल्ड फॉर मी देन. एंड वहां एक स्वीपर थी. तो आई रिक्वेस्टेड अक्का, आई सेड अक्का आपका फोन मिलेगा घर पे, सिर्फ बताना है कि मैं पहुंच गई. पापा का नंबर याद था. आई गेव हिम अ कॉल. आई सेड आई हैव रीच सेफली, प्लीज डू नॉट कॉल अप द एकेडमी अनलेस somebody dies over here, okay? किसी को
हम्म,
फोन करने की जरूरत नहीं. I'll call you after a month or so. I think my journey started from there. Cutting a cord with my family was the first thing I ever did as a 22-year-old. I think it's really very difficult for a child to do that who's never been in hostels, who's just done school, college and extracurricular activity within Mumbai, वो 5 किलोमीटर के दायरे में. So कभी ये नहीं था कि घर से इतना दूर रहे हैं. So I think that is the time I had cut the cord for my entire service, and I think since then I was like stretched part of my family. And when I got commissioned after time, you know, you get to stay with your parents and all, they keep coming, they keep going. So I think sacrificed my family life. And second thing, I got married. My husband being in the infantry and I being in army aviation, poles apart arms, you know.
Mm.
7 years of our marriage, we were not together. We
Oh.
honestly gave preference to our careers then, because it was a peak of our career and we couldn't get postings together for some reasons. That 7 years of our life, we used to meet each other, you know, 3 times in a year and spend around 10-15 days and just go get back. So these things have been a little tough on me, but I'm thankful that after I left army, I could stay a longer time with them. That abhi lagta hai mera quota bhar gaya. So I think sacrifices आते हैं, करने भी पड़ते हैं, because उस टाइम के लिए वो चीज इंपॉर्टेंट होती है, तो आपको कुछ ना कुछ सैक्रिफाइस करना ही होगा अगर आपको कुछ दूसरी चीज हासिल करनी है तो.
There are a lot of lessons to learn from this particular interview, Prajakta ji, for the younger generation. But any message that you'd like to give to our viewers?
No, one message to everybody who's watching the video, who reads about it and all, that when we have our soldiers, you know, actually standing at the border, minus 40 degrees Celsius maybe, when they keep guarding the motherland, they do not do it for the salary, because the salary is not that much which will even match the amount of hard work that they put in. They do it for the sheer love of the motherland, sheer love of the country, and the oath that they have taken to protect it. So, you know, at least those who are not in uniform or people who are out of uniform should be just be good citizens, citizens who are worth fighting for, so that the Jawan who sacrifices himself at the border or his family doesn't regret the fact that, you know, he has laid down his life for nothing. So always be good citizens. And second thing, I always tell people that, you know, be proud of your country. I mean, every country is a developing stage. Even the developed countries are in the developing stage.
Right.
India has come a real long way. It's like a family. Family may be, you know, अच्छे दिन बुरे दिन आते रहते हैं. I think our country is progressing really well. It may happen you don't align with the government or you don't align with India. That's absolutely fine. But you know, when they say India, in India में या internationally also, एक अलग pride होना चाहिए अपने मातृभूमि के लिए. I think अगर ये एक feeling हर कोई इंसान अपने मन में जगाए, तो आई थिंक इन टाइम्स टू कम our country will be, you know, crossing everything, crossing GDP, crossing all the technological advancements and being the best, if it is, you know, a feeling, a patriotic, honest patriotic feeling developed by every citizen of our country.
On that note, Prajakta ji, thank you so much for joining us today and taking out time for us. Thank you so very much. Jai
Thank you
Hind.
so much. Thank you for having me. Jai Hind.